Okay, if I qualify. Hello, everybody. My name is Barb, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Barbara.
Just so you know, I asked permission from the group to have this recorded for me. I have a friend in Scotland, and he was nice enough to send me a coin for my 50th and asked if by chance it'd be recorded, and I said, well, I can ask, and if I do, I'll send it to you. So I'm known across the pond. 1965, not the year I was born, but certainly the year that my life came to a screeching halt. We had a blackout in New York City. I was already in a blackout. I called my mother and I said, is it true there's no lights on? She said, mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know. I had been drinking the whole day, so I thought I was in a really a lost cause. And that began the progression of me trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with me. Now, I'm an Italian, and alcohol was no stranger in my house. So it was easy for me to comprehend that my life was going to be complicated, because as a child I had molars, and my mother was a Scotch drinker, so she would stir with her finger the Scotch and stick it in my mouth, and would calm down my molars, and I acquired a nice taste for Scotch. Because people ask me, how the hell did you ever turn to Scotch? I said, ask my mother, I don't know. It's like, you know, I'm an Italian, and if this bread isn't served within 15 seconds, I'm gonna tear the house down. So 65, I get caught up in this damn blackout. I worked for Roosevelt Hospital. Those of you who don't know where Roosevelt Hospital is, in 59th Street and 9th Avenue. It's the place where, years later, John Lennon would die. And since I worked in a hospital, we had to feed the patients. The blackout started at 5:30, and patients were just getting fed. So we made a human chain in the staircase. And I was the last person in the stairwell, and they had Channel 7 News covering it. And I remember the guy filming, and he said, could you turn around? And of course, you know, I had a nice word from it. It wasn't happy birthday. It began with an F, and my mother saw it on television. She says, I can take you any place, but obviously I can't make you talk properly. I said, I'm an Italian. This is what you taught me, F you, all the time. So I was very drunk. I went home with, I couldn't go home because I lived in the Bronx. I went home with one of the CEOs of the hospital. She lived on West End Avenue, Ritzy Place. And she lived on the 19th floor. 19 floors. And she made me count them. I was drunk. I kept saying, we're here. She says, no, we're not. I finally got upstairs. I wanted to pass out. I wanted something to drink, and she wouldn't give it to me. I was a little ticked off. But anyway, as time went on, I drank more and more, and my life really started to become more than unmanageable. I couldn't remember where I parked my car. I was a funny drunk. People liked me to go to meetings. Parties, excuse me, because I was very into meetings. You can see what 50 years has done to me. Go to parties because I was always the life of the party. I went to a party on West End Avenue in a gorilla suit. Now, I was the only one in a gorilla suit. I have no idea why I showed up in this party in a gorilla suit. None whatsoever. But everybody was there, and they just looked at me. They said, well, it's Barb. What do you expect? I got annoyed because I wanted to go to the bathroom, but I couldn't because I couldn't get out of my gorilla suit. So I said, adios, I'm leaving. So I go downstairs, and I'm trying to hail a cab on West End Avenue, and nobody's going to stop me. I'm in a gorilla suit. Who the hell is going to stop me? Ah, bullshit. So I just walked down to the nearest subway, and it's a lot thinner than I was able to jump the turnstiles because I couldn't put my hand in my pocket to give them a token. But they had tokens at that time. I don't know what they have now. I get on the train, I'm weaving. I don't know how I ever made this train, but I made the train. I opened the doors open, I sat down, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's two guys sitting across from me, and they're both very drunk. And one guy says to the other guy, you know what? He says, I think we should go to detox. He said, why's that? He said, there's a gorilla sitting across from us. And they were right. I was there. I got home, could not get out of my gorilla suit, so I peed myself. The guy wouldn't take it back, charged me $250. I had to finally burn the damn thing. In New York City, you know, you could go up, they had all these little places where they'd have lunch, and people would sit outside at the curb, and you can say hello to them. But I used to bum I wouldn't spend money for a lunch. I had my money for liquor, so I would bum food from them. Honestly, I'd just go up and say, you don't really want that on your plate. So they'd feed me, you know. I remember going to a New York Yankees game. And I said, you know what? They're winning. Let me get the hell out of here. Well, I didn't know where my car was. And in those days, you didn't have one of those fobs that you could press it and the lights would go off and the horn would blow out. I was dumbfounded. I said, I'm going to sit here for how long now? Everybody came out of that game. I'm still sitting there trying to figure out where the hell the car is. I got the car home. I don't know how, but I did. Well, time went on and things really got bad. It became more noticeable that I wasn't right in my mind. And I had it. I said, you know what, I don't need to go through this bullshit anymore. I just think I'm going to call it a day. It was January of 1966. January 1st, actually. And we had a transit strike. So as an employee of the hospital, they put us up in the Henry Hudson Hotel, which was right across the street from the hospital. So I had to come in, which was fine. I got my room, and what's nice about it is that there was a liquor store right on the corner. So I got a bottle, went upstairs, and I said, you know what? I think I need to check out. I don't want this anymore. I really didn't. So I took 100 aspirins, at least 100 I think, I'm not sure, and I drank a half a bottle of scotch, and I don't remember what happened. The next thing I know, I'm in the emergency room with this doctor on my chest, trying to get me to throw up. And as a result, I wound up having a gastric hemorrhage and bleeding. Well, that woman became my sponsor. I didn't know that then, but when I recovered, I was able to get back on my feet in 48 hours. I went into the cafeteria, and she was sitting down across from me, having a cigarette and smoking. So I sat down, I had a cup of coffee, and I said, can I sit? And she said, sure. And I looked at her and I said, you know, I don't know this, but maybe do you think I have a problem with alcohol? And she looked at me, she said, what? Are you for real? And that began my introduction to Alcoholics Anonymous. She told me about AA, which I thought meant Automobile Club of America. She wrote out the number for me on a napkin, and she said, of course it was a transit strike, she said, you'll have to get a cab and go over to the east side. No, she gave me the number of Alcoholics Anonymous. I called them, they told me where the meeting was, that's what it was. So they told me there was a meeting on the east side of New York City. So I get in a cab, I go there, and it's in a church. I walk downstairs to the basement, two women in the kitchen, they're making coffee, cookies. They see me, they wave me in, they sit me down, they bring me cookies, they bring me milk, and I said, Jesus, kindergarten for alcoholics, what the hell is this? It's now 7:30 and the meeting's going to begin. They take me by my arms, both of them. They put me in the middle seat, and each one sat alongside her, and I said, I'm in a witness protection program. What the hell is this about? And this guy gets up as a speakers meeting. There's three people talking just like you know how a speakers meeting goes. And I was angry because they were telling my story, and I said, how did I know this? I thought I was unique. So they told me I was too young to be an alcoholic. Now, I was 22 years old when I stopped drinking. Actually, my anniversary should be January 6th. But after 5 days of not drinking, what do? You celebrate, right? I had a drink. It wasn't a lot. I remember it was a Singapore Sling. Why, I don't know. And I had just a little sip. And the guy I was with said, are you going to tell her? Or I had to tell her. This was Leclerc. And I said, I guess I'm going to have to tell her. Well, she called me. She said, meet me at 5 o'clock. So at 5 o'clock, I went down to the cafeteria, and she looked me straight in the eye. She said, you have something to tell me? And I said, yes, I slipped. She said, okay, come on in. Sit down, get a cup of coffee. I need to tell you this. Looked me straight in the eye, and she said, we start all over again. And I said, oh, okay. She said, no, you don't understand. You know those 5 days you had? Bye-bye. What do you mean? She said, no more. Man, I was pissed. So she took out a meeting list. In those days, meeting lists came in various colors. White, blue, green, yellow, whatever. And I think mine was pink. And she circled all these meetings that I had to go to, because I had to go to 90 meetings in 90 days. You've heard that about, right? That's never changed. And so I was, okay, this is what I have to do. She never told me that this was for the rest of my life, because if she did, I wouldn't be here. I'd be dead. So I said to her, well, what do I have to do? She said, just for today, you don't have to drink. Well, I could handle that. That wasn't hard. It was hard. Going to meetings every day was hard. In those days, we didn't have cell phones, so you had to have dimes. Now I'm really dating myself. So you had to call people. And if you didn't call them, because, you know, and they're not there waiting for your friggin' call. You know, sorry, we're not here, leave a message. What? So finally, I got through 90 days. I remember that I had to join a home group. What do you mean a home group? Well, she says, you're going to find a place where you're going to like, and the people are going to be nice to you, or not, but they're going to keep you in check. I hated it. I hated going to this group every week, having to say, my name is Barb and I'm an alcoholic, and I pass. And they didn't like that because I never contributed anything. So when 90 days was over, I met with her. I was thrilled as punch that I had accomplished this. And I sat down and I said, did it? Did what? I did my 90-90. She said, really? Let me see that. Hey, February 2nd, your birthday? Mm-hmm. You left 10 minutes early from the meeting, huh? Yeah. March 6th, you were late. 10 minutes. She had 5 infractions. 5. And you know what she did? Gotta start all over again. 90-90. What? She said, either that or the highway. So, okay, I did 90 more meetings. I was not happy. But it was that second round that people, and I'm grateful, really took care of me. They showed me what it meant to be sober one day at a time. And that's all I have is one day at a time. For somebody to tell me back then that I would be here tonight celebrating, I'd look at you and say, you're nuts. That'll never happen. I could handle 24 hours. I can't handle knowing it's got to be forever. I just can't, and I still can't. And that's all right. But I look back my first year, when I celebrated my first year, I just remembered the loneliness had gone away. I used to like to go drinking in Brooklyn and sit in Brooklyn Heights, where you overlook the Hudson River and you can see all of New York. It was very romantic, but for a drunk, it was perfect because you were all alone. And in those days, nobody bothered you. Nobody would bother me anyway. It was like 6 months of sudden death. Pick your choice. And I'd just sit there, drink, smoke, and I'd look across of New York and say, that's my New. Frank Sinatra thought that was his town? Shit, that was my town. And I'd sit there and I'd drink and I'd say, hey, you know. But I remember that first year that I didn't have to do that. In fact, I went back to Brooklyn Heights and I sat down, sober, and I looked at that city and I said, wow. The things that I had missed, the things that I had done, the people I had hurt, the bar bills that I ran out on, and I owed a lot of people. I got thrown out of so many bars I can't even tell you. It's like going to McDonald's and saying I'm not going to pay for a Big Mac. People could not believe that I was going to make that change, and neither did I. But LeClaire Bissell, who was a doctor and was very prominent in the field of alcoholism, showed me a way that I'm blessed. Honest to God, I just can't, you know, I think about the things that she did for me, turned me around. I was so annoyed that I had to give up my friends. I was a good pool player and a shark. I'd set people up and I'd take their money like you wouldn't believe. People knew that I could do this, and they would set up tournaments for me. And they would buy me drinks, but they'd water them down because I had to make my game. I took a man for $1,000, and not those days, $1,000 was a lot of money. So I couldn't go to bars, I couldn't hang with my friends, I couldn't play pool. You know, what else is left? I said, you know, I can't do this. But AA showed me a place and a way that my life could be reborn, rebuilt. And all they had to do was say to me, listen, you're in a place now that you don't have to answer to anybody but your higher power, if you choose to have one. You are in a place now that you are safe. You're in a place now that if you want to falter, there are 95 people in this room that will help you. Now, AA, when I first came in, there weren't that many women. They were mostly men. And me being a lesbian didn't help. But I didn't give a shit. I came and I made myself known that I was there, and they knew I was there. But when you walked into an AA meeting in those days, everybody, all the men were dressed. Shirt, tie, like they were in church. Women, dress, not me. If I had a dress, they would arrest me. Then I'd be a cross-dress, and that I'm not. But it was nice because everybody knew you. From across the room, and they were big. The meetings were big. There were 95 people, 75 people all the time. Somebody from, hey, Barbara, where were you? I haven't seen you. Okay, no problem. But it was like that everywhere. And so I had a hard time adjusting as I grew up in AA, the different things that went along with each group, and the different formats that they had. Because truly, when I came into AA, it was like a group that I missed. After the meeting, we would go to a diner on 12th Avenue and 43rd Street, and we'd sit there for 2 hours. We paid the woman the waitress, $20. We'd chip and give her $20 so she wouldn't bother us, and we could, drink coffee all night long or eat whatever the hell it was. And that's where the meeting really continued, And no 13 steps going on, by the way. Just plain, sure AA. And if I was in trouble, I called people. It was never, what's going on. It's where are you? I miss those days. And I thought to myself as I grew in the meetings, and I got pissed off a lot of times with AA. I truly did. At one point, I took a sabbatical from AA for about 2 or 3 years. But what happened was, I guess I was, I don't know how sober I was, but I met this guy. But I was already sober, and I was still going to meetings, but I had stopped. But I knew I needed to go back to meetings. And David was my next door neighbor. I've known David for 26 years. And so I remember him being outside, and I walked up to him and saying, you need to take me to a meeting. And he said, I can do that. And I was grateful because he took me over to the Del Mar group. And I needed to get back in the fold again. And I learned that you can never quit this organization. It's like the mafia. You die if you get that out. And I can't tell you how much I enjoyed all the things that my higher power put me through, and he's put me through a lot. I've learned that there's been so many people who've helped me along the way. But to tell you how thrilled I am to be here tonight I can't put that in words. And when they say it's one day at a time, that's all it is. It's one day at a time. Because I'm as close to a drink as anybody else. I truly am. I believe in 2 things. That if the tax man doesn't get you, this disease will. And I'd rather the tax man get me than the disease. I'm very grateful that I have people. I said to Roberta, my significant other, I said, you know what, even if I wanted to drink in this town, I can't. Everybody knows me. I was in the price shopping the other day, and I won't say the man is in this room. And he's, hey, Barb, I'll see you tomorrow night. And I'm like, geez, okay, how are you, We talk, but you see, you can't, because you can't go anyplace. Everybody knows you. I just want to tell you that this can be done one day at a time. I'm so grateful for people sticking with me, kicking me in the ass when I needed it, telling me the truth when I needed it, and reminding me that those steps only work if you work them. I can't tell you enough that if it weren't for you in this room, especially tonight, I'd be dead. And I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. And I love you all. Thank you so, so much.